I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
This is I Profit from the band Vio-Lence. Oppressing the Masses is the name of this record. Who is this for?
Oh, this is for Alan.
It's for the big homie Alan.
And we did have a good Easter. We had a very good Easter.
I did. Thank you very much, sir.
Started out a little rocky, but we got past it.
Christos and Nesty, let's make it happen. It started rocky on Easter? What happened? Let's see.
Somebody wasn't practicing social distancing.
Oh. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Look, this is the premier music human experience channel on the
Planet.
Period. We've got a lot of things going on this channel. We've got the Quarantine Chronicles, which is the miniseries that's dealing with a certain zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
That
We're not funded by Netflix yet, but
it's
still pretty
going to
good.
be nominated for an Oscar. If you're politically inclined, you can jump over to Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you're musically inclined, obviously you are, which is why you're here. And then if you want to hang out with the big homies, Vincent and Sori, you want to hang out with us, we got this thing called Firesides. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the little bell so you can know where we hang out for 2 hours straight.
Yep.
Uninterrupted.
Yep.
Show me another reaction channel that does that.
And if you're opinionated inclined, then you can join an alliance for as little as $1 a month on our Patreon. And you can have a say in which songs we're going to be reacting to in the future.
Okay. So
Something for everybody.
Find me another channel. Find me another channel that does such a beautiful thing.
We also have a $125 tier on Patreon that makes it so that way you don't have to put your opinion, you can just put your say. And then we have
Which
to
is
do
what the big
song.
homie did, right?
Right. That's what Alan decided he wanted done, and so that's why we are doing Vio-Lence. I Profit.
All right, let's do it.
Scary. Go. What vocal style?
pretty sure I did a quick Google search. This Flynn, you see it says Flynn there?
Yeah.
It's the same Robb Flynn from Machine Head.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, this is 1990, so obviously he's evolved as a musician. But
Interesting.
why? What do you got?
I don't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
You didn't like the musicianship? You didn't like the heaviness? Really? I could tell.
Nope, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I could tell. You
That's
don't like
a
real
no
heavy.
for me. That's
Hey,
not
you don't
true.
like really heavy
That's
stuff.
not true. I like
is very heavy.
but I don't like fast heavy.
Right. You don't like thrash. You don't like thrash.
So I don't.
I like thrash. I just didn't like it. I used to, it's funny, I used to say I didn't like thrash, but I really did like thrash, but it was so hard to play. No, I don't like that shit. And then
Really?
I'd sit down and do all these drills to the point where I could, and then of course there's some techniques I was doing that was making it harder on myself than I needed it to do. But I love thrash. And I like to play thrash now, but at the time, not so much.
Interesting.
And James Hetfield had, he was notorious for his downstroking. Like, you would think, he's mixing it up, and it was all downstrokes, which is pretty ridiculous. Very, very hard to do. But anyway,
I mean, we're talking about capitalism here. People walking all over other people to get what they want.
yeah, which he didn't specifically in 1990. It wasn't socially acceptable to critique capitalism. Like it is now, and I think Obama called up Bernie and said, "Hey, you accomplished your mission because now everybody's talking about the stuff that's important to you, and people are more amenable to the concept of socialism and yada 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 yada." But in 1990, that wasn't really a popular thing to do. And I think it's a very hard thing for me to reconcile. So there was this famous quote where Bush says, because he gave all these tax cuts to these corporations, and Bush goes, "Well, corporations are people too," and everybody went crazy on him. Of course, if you look at it in a complete literal sense, he's right, because a corporation is simply a cooperation. That's what a corporation is. But what has ended up happening, of course, with corporations is, yes, they start out as corporations of people, but then the CEO, gets to ingest 95% of the profit. And then you've got this sort of ruling class within the corporation that dictates to everybody what happens, and they hire and fire people, they send people over, they send jobs overseas, and then shut down entire, plants and all the rest of it. So when he was saying, "Oh, corporations are people too," people are like, "Are you freaking kidding me? What are you?" What? But see, this is what happens. When you're so rich, like Bush, the Bush family's been rich for generations. You say stuff like that
because you're out of touch.
You're completely out of touch. You have no idea how a commoner is going to interpret that data. Of course, you're right, literally, they're people too in some sense, for sure. But that's a freaking terrible thing to say to somebody who's on their last unemployment check because their corporation, who are people too, just sent their jobs overseas because the Clintons signed the NAFTA stuff. So it's a pretty crazy, and then of course you've got this whole situation where these banks or these certain corporations become quote unquote too big to fail, which honestly, the bank bailouts and the Wall Street bailouts that happened in the last financial crisis, I didn't like it. But I understood the syllogism. It makes sense. I know that people aren't going to like that, but letting the biggest bank in the world and Wall Street, which is a financial center of the world, letting that just crash into oblivion, in my opinion, would be completely irresponsible on a domestic or at a foreign level. But the shit that they did this time, bailing out cruise lines, who, they locate their business in Nassau in the Bahamas so as to avoid American taxation. These people have been avoiding our tax code for years, and now they're in trouble, so we're going to bail them out with our money, even though they haven't done their fair share of taxes. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know, there is a billionaire, he was on Rising a couple days ago. He's like, let all these people fail. Let them all fail. Keep the bank solvent, and then give all the money to the people. Which is right. Like, this whole $1,200 check thing, everybody's all celebrating it. You notice, like, I'm not really celebrating it.
Yeah.
It's our tax return for next year.
Yeah.
All these people, next year...
Yeah, that money's going to come from somewhere.
When you do your taxes next year, your refund is going to be exponentially smaller. Because they're just giving you back your money early. That's all this is. And so... you got that, and then you've got, you know, bailing out these ridiculous billionaires who they're already set. And you know, that billionaire was on the show. He's like, look, we all know how to, you know, go bankrupt and whatever, and we don't know how to recover from it. Trump went bankrupt like 7 times, and the guy's still a multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
Say what you want. Yeah, I know people, oh, Trump's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. The point is, this guy was saying, look, when millionaires and billionaires, when our stuff goes under and we declare bankruptcy, like, we're not going to die. Like, we know how to pivot in those situations. Why in the world are we bailing out the travel industry? Like, it's unbelievable to me. Like, these guys are not. These guys, like, we're not financially, like, the American economy is not being propped up by the travel industry. Like, we can let those people. We can let those businesses fail. Just give the money to give the money to regular people.
Yeah. Well, I especially feel like that when it's a business that has been, like, gouging people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we all know that flying from here to another location, like, sometimes you can get those tickets for like $89 for one way. So, like, you're looking at $150 there and back again. And then sometimes it's like up to $1,000 for that. So it's like,
right.
You know what I mean?
No,
like, you're packing all those people into the plane. Sometimes you show up and then they say, well, we overpacked the plane. You can't go. It's like, okay, so you guys have been doing this stuff.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So 100%. It's like, well, where did all that profit go? Pull it back.
100%.
So,
and then, yeah, and he says, like, they have no conscience in this song, and you know, like, I couldn't believe it. But so we're at this, you know, corner store or whatever where we live, and you know, I always ask those people, how are you doing? How are people treating you? And then there was this thing about masks or whatever, and you were like, did they tell you not to wear your mask? And I was like, this is ridiculous. I was thinking, this is ridiculous. Sorry, nobody would tell their employees not to wear a mask. And he goes, yeah. He goes, the girl had been wearing the mask, and it made customers nervous. So a couple customers complained. So the boss, the manager, who's not there at all, told them not to wear their masks. So, like, this girl's life, and look, she's not very healthy. Let's say it that way. Is that fair? This is not a very healthy young woman.
She fits in the bracket that would.
She's in trouble.
That's in a danger zone, yeah.
And she's interacting with the public, and this girl has been like the stalwart of that.
We're talking about a convenience store. People are in and out of there on like a rotation. It's constant, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, breathing.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable to me. Like
I knew it though.
Yeah, you called it. And it's crazy because I'm in the corporate world, you know, so I know how these people are, like how completely cold-blooded they are, but I didn't, I couldn't believe it.
Because I saw her with her mask and I thought, if I was her, that's exactly what I would want to be doing too.
100%.
But then I thought to myself, there's no way in the world my managers would have let me do that. Because it was a little jarring. Not everybody was kind of acclimated to this, you know, social distancing and wear your mask out in public thing yet. And so it was a little jarring. You walk into the convenience store and there she is with a mask. It's like, well, should I not be here? Should I go across the street?
I couldn't believe it.
And then all of a sudden she wasn't wearing it anymore.
Yeah, it's the.
And then you heard that person. You maybe don't remember when we were at the gym, and he was complaining because she had been wearing it.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing how evil some of these people are. It really, really is. It really is. And you become, you know. Every human being then becomes some sort of like walking dollar sign. Like how can I squeeze the last amount of profit off of, out of this person. It's a pretty disgusting reality that we're living in right now. And it's and then they always have these little releases. Oh, we value our employees and blah 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 blah. It's all this fake junk, and it's like, yeah, you value them so much that you'd rather this girl put her life on the line so that some prissy soccer mom doesn't feel scared because she's rocking a face mask. It's unbelievable to me.
Just for full disclosure, it was a man that was complaining, not a soccer mom.
What do you mean, at the gym?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, you get the point. Good Lord. Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed the song because I felt like the song is a little bit before its time as far as, I mean, a song like this now, I don't really feel like it's very, very brave per se, but these corporations, and I'm not a fan of like signaling out a certain group of people and saying that group of people is particularly bad, because I believe all of us are bad, and I believe that all of us are hypocritical.
Yeah.
And so I generally don't like the idea of like for example, when somebody says, oh, if Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates gave 2% of their income to whatever, then we would be able to eradicate world hunger. And I'm always like, sure, but what are you doing to eradicate?
You could also do it if you gave a percentage.
Correct.
If everybody gave a percentage.
Correct. Then we'd all be out of so I'm not a fan of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I always push back on that stuff because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about Bill Gates or like I want to know.
Are you giving your 2%?
Right. What are we doing? Yeah. Because we're rich compared to the rest of the world. Yeah. So I don't want to hear this sort of if I was rich, I know you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know how I know? Because you're rich right now and you're not giving to people. Oh yeah, you're rich compared to somebody in Africa, Mogadishu or whatever. So I don't want to hear it. However, being a CEO of a corporation is a very, very specific job title, and there are not things that normal, regular, everyday people can do to solve that problem. They are a particular class of people. Now, I don't resent people for being rich. Like, I don't resent rich people for being rich. Like, that's one of the overcorrections I think that's happened in the Sanders movement, where you put a moral stake on a person's income. And, I forgot who said it, like, you can't make X amount or whatever without trotting on somebody. I don't think that's true. If Jeff Bezos wants to devote his entire life to making money, then he deserves whatever money he generates. Fine. What I don't like is the way that...
Is he the Amazon guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of think that's probably got some truth to it if you're not conscious of what you're doing. Because, Jeff Bezos, who you just brought up, and then now you're looking at different people that are stepping out from Amazon saying, we've been in danger, we've been trodden on.
Well, right.
So I think the bigger you get, the harder it is to monitor those things, and you have to be super, super conscious of what you're doing.
The thing is that Bezos, I don't believe that happened to that guy. So there's a, pretty sure there's going to be a pending lawsuit pretty quickly here with this guy where the outbreak was happening, and they basically told him keep working or whatever, but they had a guy that was already a confirmed COVID case, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to say anything, yada yada yada. And my point is, I don't think that was an oversight on Bezos' part. To me, it looked like, because he was in one of those meetings when they were talking about what to do with this kid. To me, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew exactly what was going on, and that's the stance he wanted to take. That's what bothers me. It's not so much, I'm not, people, there should never be billionaires. When Bernie was talking about how horrible billionaires were, when last election cycle he was talking about how horrible millionaires and billionaires were. But ever since 2016, he himself became a millionaire, so then the bad guys were... Then the bad guys were billionaires. Oh, okay, then the billionaires shouldn't exist. But millionaires should exist because now I'm a millionaire, but billionaires shouldn't. Yep. Okay, Bertie. Okay. So I'm not a fan of putting like a moral measurement on how much a person makes either way. But it's uncontestable truth that, and the fact of the matter is, I have to say this, Bernie, not so much Bernie, but some of him and Biden, they were encouraging people to go vote. When the CDC had knocked it down to 25, you couldn't be in a room with 25 plus people.
Yep.
And Biden was encouraging people to vote. Bernie was kind of like, if you feel like you can, go for it. So you know, and it happens on the Republican side as well. We saw that, I think it was Detroit or some other place, where there was a Democratic governor that wanted to stop it, then it went to basically a Republican-controlled Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court said, no, we got to have the votes go in. Like, you know, so like, this thing where people just get commoditized and the lives of human beings are just completely disposable for the idol of money or the idol of power in the elections is it's pretty.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's pretty much, and the problem is that, you know, and that's why you're seeing Jimmy Dore and all those guys melt down now, is because, you know, the only backstop we really had to that was a guy like Bernie. And so his weak performance in this time around has created, I think, what you're seeing when you see Jimmy Dore yelling and screaming every episode is more about a panic, because now it's like, well, shit, who's gonna be this backstop? And you know, when you got Bernie voting for these corporate bailouts, and you got AOC voting for these corporate bailouts, and those two are supposed to be the ones that are supposed to, you know, lead us to the promised land of equality and corporate, you know, mitigation, then I think that's what you're seeing with that type of disillusionment. So it's sad stuff, but what they spoke about was genuinely true. I'm gonna give this. I love the metal. I love the heaviness in it. It's gonna get a 9 from me. What do you give it? 4? Oh my gosh. Well, what do you know? Sori's not really a metalhead. Then how?
Sori out.
Gone.